Rev up your engines. And here we go, it's road trip time. Early in the morning, start her up, still dark outside, and here we go. We're on our way to Beaver Dam, and we're going through Louisville, Kentucky. Check it out, Pee Wee Valley, the home of Pee Wee Herman. Now we're in Kentucky, and unlike Death Valley, California, where gas was $6.50 a gallon, it's about half the price in Kentucky, $3.39, which I find quite amusing because there's plenty of oil wells in California. Why do they rip them off in California? Day 2, the sun arises over the Hilton Hotel in Columbus, Ohio. And here we are coming up on Lake Erie on the Pennsylvania-New York border. And there's a Niagara Falls Information Center. And here we are crossing into New York State. And here we are in New York State, the land of taxes and bad roads. So here we are in the middle of nowhere in New York State. The other side's fine, but a nice sunny day yet. People all going the same direction still manage to run into each other. So we're going 3 miles an hour. And strangely enough, it's the other side of the road that's clear, which is driving into the sun. So they can't blame it on the sunlight. Well, anyway, look at the high quality of New York State bridges. Rusting away, the paint's all peeled off. I hope the bridge doesn't break while we're driving on it. There's a moron in a Corvette who wrecked his car in the middle of the day and sunny. Not a drop of rain, no ice, just an idiot who doesn't know how to drive. And there's my mother. Say hi, Ma. She's pushing 100. Taking off on a full moon here almost. Our intakes are lit up here in Niagara Falls. That's what lets the water in to the giant generating station outside of Lewiston, New York. And there's the sun rising above Syracuse, New York. And we made it in our backyard in Rhode Island just in time to watch the sun set over the ocean. Well, now it's a new morning in Rhode Island, so let's check what's in the garage while I was gone. Well, boxes and boxes. So what have we learned during this trip? Well, I did a little bit different counting this time. This time, instead of counting dead animals versus electric cars, I compared electric cars to broken down cars on the side of the road. And what did I find? Well, most people know Toyotas are amongst the most reliable cars, but I did find during the trip on the highway 5 broken down Toyotas on the side of the road, while during the whole trip I saw 5 Teslas driving down the highway. So, my conclusion is you're as likely to see a Tesla on the highway as you are a Toyota broken down on the side of the highway. In other words, it's a pretty rare occasion to see either a Tesla electric car or a broken down Toyota. Now mind you, the Toyotas are between 20 and 30 years old, and one included a Starlet, which wasn't that popular. There's still a long way to go with electric cars in the real world. And speaking of electric cars, hey, I saw a Ford Mach-E electric car, but I saw it in Providence, Rhode Island. It was the same one that I saw when I was driving to Tennessee. There's one in town, and he happened to be driving on the highway the same time I was. And now that I'm back in my garage in Rhode Island, start making appointments. Just email ScottyKilmer@gmail.com. You got an interesting car, a late model car, a new car, some car that people are interested in. Maybe they're thinking about buying a new car that you have or a year-old car. You can tell me your experience. You got a problem, call me up. We'll set up a time. You can meet me, have some coffee, and learn a little bit about cars. And if you've got any interesting products you want me to test out, join in with these boxes. I'm always willing to test stuff out. Hey, everybody needs help here or there. You got a great product? I know it costs millions to PR a good product. Hey, if you have a good product, contact me, send me one. I'll try it out honestly. And my challenge to electric car manufacturers still stands. I got the charger, I got the plug outside, but I don't have an electric car. If you can put your money where your mouth is, send me an electric car to try out. I'm going to be here a few months. I'd love to try one out. I got a place to plug them in and everything. But I doubt if that's going to happen because they're all afraid of me telling them the truth, the problems that they have. But standing behind your product, electric car manufacturers of the world, send me one. I will honestly try it out. So if you're in Tennessee, you're going to have to wait a few months to get a hold of me. But if you're in Rhode Island, hey, drop on by and I'll help you and the rest of the world out with their car problems. And here's some bonus questions and answers. Omar Aguilar says, hello, I have a question. What's your opinion on 1.5 liter Ford EcoBoost 4-cylinder on Ford Fusion? I don't like them. It's a small engine with a turbocharged GDI system. They don't hold up over time. They're faster, they get phenomenal gas mileage, but if you're like me, you want a vehicle to last 10, 20, 30 years, 2, 3, 400,000 miles, they won't. Now, if you're the type of person who buys a new vehicle and you're happy with 100,000 miles and then you get another one, you might be totally happy with that vehicle, right? But it will not hold up over time. That little engine with GDI injection with all that pressure and then turbocharging all that extra pressure, they just wear out too fast. And I have seen some of those things break down with as little as 65,000 miles on them. Conrad Trust said, I got a 2016 Corolla. Has a faint clunk noise. What's your opinion? Well, with any noise, you got to pinpoint the noise. Does it come from the front? Does it come from the back? Does it happen when you accelerate? Or does it happen just sitting there when you start the car? You got to figure the sound out. Let's say it clunks when you start it. That's usually a one motor mount. You start it and the motor sways and the mount's broken, it'll clunk when it goes up and falls down. Now, if you can't figure out where the noise is coming from, watch my video, Finding the Source of Car Noise of Scotty. Watch that on YouTube. You'll see we mechanics have machines you can listen to noises and pinpoint them. Now, you can buy machines like that. I bought a newer one than the one I have in the video that instead of being wireless, it's got a bunch of wires. So it was cheap. It was only like 65 bucks. It's got 8 sensors with wires, headphones, and a control unit with 1 through 8. So you click on each one, and when you click on the one you hear the noise, you know the noise is in that area, right? And you can buy those things and do it yourself and pinpoint any noise. It's got 8 controllers, and then when you hear where the noise is loudest, then you get 3 or 4 of them and put them all in that area, and you can find exactly when it's coming, because one of those 4 is going to be the loudest. You know the noise is coming from right where you clamp that on. That's the best way to find noise. Jason, who says Scotty got a 2010 Jeep Patriot with ABS, traction light, and 4x4 light on. What could it be? Okay, your ABS light, traction control light, and your 4x4 light is on. So you got some kind of problem with the ABS or the traction system. So you get a guy like me to scan it. We get the codes. There's many codes that it can be. But realize this. Let's say you have a problem with an ABS sensor. You'll have a code. Might say right front sensor. Even if it doesn't, if it says there's a problem with the sensors, then guys like us, mechanics, hook our fancy scan tools, take it for a road test. We can look at the live data. If we see, gee, the right front one isn't giving data, we'll know that one's broken, right? But realize that if your ABS sensors break, that immediately turns the track off. So the track system's turned off, then the track light comes on telling you the track system's turned off. So usually it's one problem that creates both of those lights, and it's normally a problem with the ABS system. You fix that, reset the codes, odds are the track light won't come back on. Usually it's an ABS problem. Simple as maybe the ABS sensor's gone bad, right? Then you replace that, reset the codes, usually it doesn't come back on. But you got to get the code and see which one it is, because there's all kinds of problems that can occur. And the codes show you what area to start analyzing. Daryl Jones says, is there anything I can do to prolong the life on my Jeep Grand Cherokee airbags? Well, but the only thing you can do is park it in the shade all the time or inside a garage. Because, of course, the sun beats down on those things, and the ultraviolet rays can crack the plastic and start ruining the electronics. So that's the only thing they're sealed units and everything. But if you keep the car out of the sun as much as possible, park it in the shade, park it inside a garage, then it will last longer, because the ultraviolet rays of the sun aren't beating inside the dash and making them all crack and get super hot. And you might also, if you do have to park in the sun, crack the 2 front windows a little bit, and then the extra heat will get out. It won't get as hot inside. That will also destroy the stuff. Nicholas Street says, I have a brand new belt on my 2002 Ford Ranger. It still squeals. What should I do? I tried belt dressing. Well, one, don't ever put belt dressing on. That actually makes them worse. Your belts are made not to be lubricated. They work by friction, and you put lubrication, there's friction, it'll slip. You don't ever want to do that. Now, if yours are adjusted manually, they're too loose. You got to tighten it up tighter. If you have an automatic tensioner, and you put a new belt and it still squeals, get a new automatic tensioner. They have springs inside, and eventually the springs wear out. They don't get tight enough, and then wham, they'll squeal. So if it's an automatic tension system, you're probably going to need a new automatic tensioner. Tony Capizzi says, I've replaced 2 ignition coils in my 2015 Cadillac ATS 2-liter turbo with 70,000 miles. Is this normal? Yeah, they're not made all that well. Personally, what I do is, if you've got one and 2 coils go out, I would change all the rest of the coils too. It's a 2-liter 2-liter engines, so you only got 2 more. I would change all 4 at the same time so they all fire equally, because realize if you got 2 new ones and 2 old ones, they may not fire just right, and that may cause further problems of the car not running right. If you're going to change them on a 4-cylinder, you might as well buy all 4, not have to think about it for years and years. But it's normal that they go out. They're GM products. They're not made all that well, especially the electronic parts like the computerized ignition coils. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.